The San Jose Sharks have a golden opportunity as one team's downfall leads to a top free agent becoming available at free agency. We're going to talk about how big of a signing this would be for the future of the San Jose Sharks. Plus, we're going to see how he would fit into this lineup and what kind of number we would get him at. So you're not going to want to miss this episode of Sharks Digest. But before we dive into all that, we got to say we're on the road for 2,000 subscribers by draft day. So if you're a big Sharks fan, want to stay up on a big offseason ahead, we're going to have it up to date here, so make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. But we got to dive into this top free agency stuff because as we all know, last night the Toronto Maple Leafs got eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs yet again with only 2 series wins in the last 20 years. The Toronto Maple Leafs organization is about to blow up over this offseason, where fans calling for Mitch Marner, the top free agent available, to walk at free agency. They don't want him re-signed, which leaves the San Jose Sharks in a perfect position to go out and get this guy, a star player for this franchise and a, kind of role model for a lot of the young players that the San Jose Sharks do have. I think this is the perfect signing for the San Jose Sharks. I think if I'm Mike Grier, I'm going out and throwing everything at him to get him into San Jose. He is a phenomenal player. You can talk about how he plays in the playoffs as much as you want, but he did have 13 points in this year's playoffs. Yes, he may only have had 2 goals, but he has been a player in the playoffs for this team. Maybe in clutch time, you can question him a little bit, but for what the Sharks need right now, I think injecting this guy into this organization will immediately make them compete. I don't think it makes them compete for a playoff spot, but I think they're right there. I think they're right there in the wildcard race, especially after they get their first-round pick this year. Obviously, Macklin Celebrini's had a great development year, same as Will Smith, same with William Eklund. If you inject a 100-point player into this lineup, it's only going to make them even better. I mean, if we just take a look at, some rumblings we heard a couple weeks ago about Mitch Marner coming to the San Jose Sharks. Former Panthers AGM Steve Wearer said, obviously he likes what Mike Grier has done by signing, Will Smith or by, drafting guys like Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, and Hall of Fame good guys like Tyler Toffoli, and they're thus far. And he said this is a reason he thinks that the Sharks will go out and get Mitch Marner. I mean, if we just look at the direct quote, he says, I think it will land them Marner. I think he believes what Mike Grier is doing, what team he is building right now, and the building blocks of this team really is outstanding for a lot of players. It's showing into a lot of organizations as well of how good Mike Grier has been at building this team, and I think he has a great quote here. I think just the way that we're seeing Mike Grier go about these things, signing some great players to great contracts, drafting, franchise players like Macklin Celebrini and a guy like Will Smith, where maybe not a lot of people had him ranked high when he was drafted. And we see what he did towards the end of the season, and we see what he's doing over now in the World Championship. I think this is what will land them Mitch Marner, is what this former Panthers AGM is saying. And I think it's a very good point, because if Mitch Marner gets thrown a lot of money at him, he sees the position Mike Grier has his team is and sees the position that this team is heading in the future, I think it's definitely a way to persuade him into the San Jose Sharks. Yes, you might have one bad year, potentially 2, but after that, you're going to be competing, like we're seeing with the Montreal Canadiens right now. I know I compare the Sharks to the Canadiens a lot in these videos, but it's the kind of same situation. Montreal went through a full rebuild, had a lot of young guys. We see them get into the playoffs this year. And this is what we're going to see with the San Jose Sharks for the future. They have a lot of young guys. They have a few great veteran guys. they're going to start competing eventually. Eventually, the switch is going to flip, and these guys are going to be in playoff mode. And I think bringing a guy like Mitch Marner in, yes, it may not get you there right away, but in a year, maybe 2 years' time, you are right there competing for that playoff spot. I definitely do agree with that. And obviously, if you're not familiar with Mitch Marner's play, I mean, he's coming off his best season with 102 points in 81 games, with 27 goals, 75 assists. This guy is one of the most elite playmakers in the league today. This guy has a third eye at times, the way he's passing the puck, threading pucks through lanes, finding his open teammates for goal-scoring opportunities. This is how good of a right winger Mitch Marner is. And he's one of the best defensive forwards in the league at that. He's very active with his stick. He's great on the forecheck. He's great on the penalty kill. He is such an all-around player for the San Jose Sharks and a franchise guy for them. I know he is a bit older right now, I believe 27, maybe 28 years old. I think I'm right in saying that, but I think if you lock this guy up for the rest of his career in San Jose, I think it will win them a Stanley Cup in a few years' time. I might be crazy to say that. I know a lot of you guys in the comment section are probably saying we don't want him. You know, we know how he performs in the playoffs, but I think it's just the pressure of him being a Toronto boy, playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, the fans being on him the last couple of seasons. I think if you get him in the San Jose, where the media isn't as big, unfortunately, as an area like Toronto, I think this guy flourishes. He really finds his game and really, I think, becomes a part of this organization and becomes a better player just because he's out of the spotlight and now he's fighting and battling every night to be a better player and get this team to where the fans want them to be, and that is in the playoffs. And if we just take a look at how big of a cap hit this is going to affect the San Jose Sharks, it obviously right now he is on a contract expiring at $10.9 million. A lot of people around Toronto have been expecting him to maybe sign a Matthews type deal, which is $13.75, or even could get up to that $14 million range or the low $13 million range. But I think if I'm Mike Grier and the San Jose Sharks, you're going into this offseason with over $40 million in cap space. Obviously, you have some guys that you do have to re-sign and extend and stuff like this. But, you have a lot of money to work with. You have a lot of money to spend until you reach the cap floor. I think, obviously you have to take into account Macklin Celebrini's big deal that he's going to have to sign. Will Smith's deal is not going to be as big as Macklin's, but it is going to be a big contract. The cap is going up next season. I think throwing $14 million at Mitch Marner is a lot of money, but I think it is definitely worth it for the future of this team. I think he is the star, the veteran star that they do need. They need a face of the franchise. Obviously, right now it is Macklin, but if you get Mitch Marner down there, he is going to be the new face of the franchise. I definitely do think. And I know there's a lot of people that are probably saying, we don't want him. He's, maybe comes off whiny at times and stuff like this. But I think it's just, like I said, the pressure of being in Toronto and how much the media and the fans have taken it out on him over the past couple of years. Once he gets clear of that and gets all that stress off his shoulders, he is going to be a phenomenal player. He already is a phenomenal player, but he's going to be an even better player once that stress is gone. And if we just take a look at this Sharks lineup going into next season, this is the needs they need. They need 2 left wings and a right wing. So maybe I don't think I'm completely off base here. I think this is something that could actually happen. I could really see Mitch Marner coming to San Jose, especially after what Toronto just went through. They just got put out in Game 7. The fans hate Marner. They want him gone. I think this is it's just landing in the lap of the San Jose Sharks with all this money to go out and sign him. But if you get Mitch Marner, can you imagine the top line of Macklin Celebrini, William Eklund, and Mitch Marner on the right side? That top line will be lethal, and a guy like Mitch Marner makes his teammates around him better, just with his passing ability and the way that he sees the ice and leads a line. I think that he will add a lot to Macklin Celebrini's game. I think he'll add a lot to William Eklund's game, and he's just going to be able to mentor these guys as young players in the league to, mold them into NHL players, which I think is great. I think this needs to happen. If I'm San Jose, I need to go out there and try my best and throw everything at the wall until it sticks to get Mitch Marner, because I think this guy is it helps this team so much. It even helps them compete this season, I would say, with Askarov now coming up to be the full-time starter that we're suspecting. You get a 100-point player in Mitch Marner. Macklin Celebrini coming off a Calder, maybe season if he does win it. Will Smith coming off a great end to the season. Eklund having a great season. If you can go out, get Mitch Marner, get a few key role guys here in free agency, I think you're right there. I think you're almost there into a wild card spot, but you guys might think I'm out to lunch here, but I want to hear what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. If you're Mike Grier, are you going out and getting Mitch Marner? Because for me, I think I had to do it. I think this presents a perfect opportunity. He's still, relatively young. He's not in his 30s yet, so he can take maybe a year, a season off of being in the playoffs and still go out the season after and start competing. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts next year in the comments below. Do you think that the Sharks make the playoffs next year with Marner in the lineup? I can't wait to read these comments. They're going to be a lot of fun ones down there. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're on the road for 2,000 here before draft day, so we appreciate it. If you're not subscribed already, go down below, hit that subscribe button. But as always, I've been your host, KC. Keep your stick on the ice.